Hey folks, in this video we're going to learn about Boolean logic. So to begin with, Boolean logic is going to involve Boolean values, which are true and false, and it's going to use the Boolean operators, and, or, not. These are the 5 things we're going to learn. Let's unpack it. Okay, to begin with, the Boolean value, true or false. It is not a string and it's not an integer. It's a Boolean value. That's why we called it something different. Let's demonstrate. I'm going to make a variable called has sword, and I'm going to write true. Now, whoa, Mr. Taylor, I hear you saying, you can't just write a bunch of text and not put quotation marks on it. That's crazy. Well, I can, because true or false is a Boolean value, and I don't need to put no quotation marks around it. It's not a string. It's a Boolean value. Let's compare this, right? If I had has sword equals true, this is a string, this is a Boolean value. Also, PyCharm, you gotta love it, it's given me a bit of a clue. Look at the color here. Green for string, blue for Boolean. Like Boolean, blue Boolean. You can remember that, it's double B. So life's pretty good there. If I can do the same with false. It's blue, life is pretty good. Okay? Now, one thing that can trip people up sometimes is maybe you're getting a bit lazy and you put a lowercase f. Don't do that. You've got to have uppercase letters for them. If you do that, you'll be pretty sweet. Okay? So, let's get rid of this. We don't care about strings for the moment. And we will have our sword. Okay. Now, I'll make another variable, has shield, and I will say false, just to begin with. Alright, let's make a control statement. I'm going to find a dragon. So, if has sword and has shield, print, you kill the dragon. Else, print, oh, this remembers what I wrote. It's always really good. Okay, so I've got a bit of Boolean logic here. I'm using the Boolean values and I'm using an operator. In this case, I'm using the word and. And the nice thing about a Boolean operator is the way it is written is the same way we would use this in the English language. So that's really good. That's very nice because sometimes Python can be a bit complicated. So this is saying if I have the sword and the shield, I need to have both of these things. If they're both true, I can kill the dragon. I've got to hit it with the sword, and I've got to protect myself from getting burnt. Otherwise, well, I don't kill the dragon, you're burnt alive. Okay? You are. So, let's run this code. I don't kill the dragon, you're burnt alive. Again, just a little reminder, why did this happen? Well, I've got my sword, awesome. I don't have my shield, so I can't protect myself. If I change that to true, we're looking good. You kill the dragon. Okay. Now, let's say I has bow. So I'm going to make another one. Okay. So I can say true and I can say false. And we'll just forget about the shield for the moment. We'll just go to this next variable here, which is or. Okay. So or is like it's not the opposite of and, it's or. It's the way that you would use or. It's another conditional operator. So has bow, right? You kill the dragon. So I could have my bow, but I don't have a sword. Well, you know, a weapon is a weapon. I run it, I kill the dragon. Now, if I have neither of these things, right? I only have my shield. Well, you don't kill the dragon, you're burnt alive. Okay, may I protect myself, but I eventually just get burnt out. So that's the way that you use the or statement. Okay. Now I can combine these. You can have as many of these operators as you want, and it reads it left to right. So let's say if has sword or has bow and has shield, I kill the dragon. So in this case, if I run it, well, I don't kill the dragon because I don't have a sword, I don't have a bow, I do have a shield. It's not good enough. I need at least one weapon, okay? So if I change this to true and I hit run, you do kill the dragon. Now, what does this all mean in terms of your game development? I'll get onto not in a second, because generally speaking, you're only going to use and or both. Usually, the most common thing that you could, like, the easiest thing that you could put in your game is like, do you pick up a key? Okay, so you could have a variable like has key, right? Has key equals true. Like eventually, like you pick up the key and we can change the variable. We'll look at that another time. And then you can say like if has key, print, you unlock the door. Like that sort of thing. Or if has key, walk through door, something like this, equals input, do you open the door now and enter, etc. And you go through your sort of nested elements and that type of thing. So very powerful to all these Boolean values, and you can embed them as much as you want. You could just have one. The other thing, key is really common. The other one is just like game state, and it could be true or false, and you could use that as your logic to decide whether or not the game ends, okay, or it continues. So it could be like when your lives hit 0, game state equals false, and then once that happens, it kills the whole program. The last one that we're going to look at is not, and this is sort of an optional one. You can get away with not using not as a Boolean operator. It is just useful in making your code just a little bit tighter, a little bit more efficient. Again, I reiterate, if you don't understand it, it's optional. And or definitely use them. Not, well, let's have a look. Let's see what we get. So what not does is it reverses the Boolean operator. So if I say not true, what that does is it turns it into false. And if I say not false, it turns that Boolean value into true. Okay, just put a bit of a good old-fashioned hashtag there. Okay, so let's look at an example of when I might use this. So if lives, or has lives equals false, if has lives false, print, you lose a game. Okay, and I think that's all pretty good. If I run this, yeah, you lose the game. Okay, so this is pretty good. You can do this. This is perfectly fine. But can we make it a little bit tighter? Yes, we can. So I could, go away. What I can do is I can reverse the value to make it true. And then if the statement will be true, so therefore it's going to print. So I will delete this. If, God, I'm trying to think actually. Oh yeah, it's this way. If I have to think about it, we'll see how we go. If not has lives, and then we run it, we lose the game. Okay? Now, I know it's it's not intuitive sometimes. Like when I first learned this, and as you can see, I still fumble around with it a little bit. But what it comes back down to is that when we have these control statements like if, elif, that sort of thing, that will only run whatever code is indented within it if it is true. Okay? And so what I've put here is saying like, okay, if I don't have lives, print this. That's what it's really saying. So it's if not, print. And it's a double negative, so it's going to be true. This is really saying, well, this statement is true. And because it's true, it triggers. And it'll trigger the code there. Now, do you need to use this again? No, like what have I done? I've saved a little bit of code here. Okay? But it's just something to think about. You might find a time when it's useful. But other than that, Boolean values, have a go, see what happens.